Welcome everyone. This is Sandeep Dal, co-chair of Punjabi Chamber of Commerce's San Francisco chapter. And I have Professor Frank with me. And today's topic we are going to talk about is how will the metaverse radically change the higher education, and lots of things about that. So let's talk about what Punjabi Chamber of Commerce and who am I and Frank, and then get going with that. So I have I'm born in India in Punjab, and I am founder of a couple of companies here. One is for marketing, another is for advising, as well as merger and acquisitions, where we invest money as well as resources in different companies, mature companies mostly. And then I'm also a co-chair of Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, like I said, with Kulwant Sandhu. She is a supply chain leader in medical devices company, and we run this chapter together. Now, about us as a Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, it's a non-profit organization funded by the support of Punjabi community. We started in 2017 in New York, Greater New York, New Jersey area. We have no religion, no politics, only business related stuff we talk about. And we also have, since inception, we have the purpose, the objective is to bring all the entrepreneurs, the small and medium business owners and founders and the startups, and bring also the professionals and community leaders together so that they can help each other and spread the prosperous prosperity amongst our community and in the world. So our members are located in various countries, and we have 17 chapters. Signing up is easy. We have charitable arms also, which has worked very well. And when COVID hit on the second wave in India, we provided a lot of oxygen for concentrators for our hospitals when they were struggling. And then we have a global youth wing also, which we have launched in San Francisco. So please ask for that also if you are young. So here is our speaker, founder and CEO of Virtual Filmschool. Now, when I talked to him a few weeks back, I was actually mesmerized with the vision and with the strategy and what he's going to do with the education, with the metaverse. So I actually requested him to share his thoughts and his vision for education industry as well as for Virtual Film School, so that we can learn from that. He carries many years of teaching experience as USC, which is University of Southern California, correct, Frank?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And UCLA, it's a top-notch schools in the world, Emerson, LMU, Chapman, and he's presently the founder and CEO of Virtual Film School. And as a filmmaker, he won more than 30 awards from films for HBO, etc., and all that. So who else will be able to? I think I'm so impressed and so feel gratitude that you have joined us to talk about how the metaverse will radically change higher education. And I as a father of a school-going daughter who goes, and as an international student, she goes to a university in this. I feel the pain of paying so much of tuitions and all that. Actually, it wrecks the entire economy of the house, you know. And then I see bureaucracy and all that everywhere. So we would like to see how metaverse is going to save us and impact the world from education perspective. So I will just stop the sharing, and I'll start with asking one question to you, Frank, is that preparing for this webinar, I went and asked a few people about metaverse and all that and education. And they said metaverse and education and all that sounds like a science fiction to us. What would you say to such people?
So, as technology progresses, everything that's in the future in our, in this century has been conceived by science fiction. So remember when, we were kids and we would watch the original Star Trek, and they would flip open a communicator and they would be able to talk on the communicators. Well, that's not science fiction now, is it? Right.
Yeah.
And I even bought the Palm Trio phone that had the flip open thing so I could do it just like Captain Kirk did. Right. And so much of what happens in the present is often predicted by science fiction writers in the future. So think about Ready Player One, the Steven Spielberg movie. That was his vision of the future. And it wasn't very long before that's pretty much what people are doing with these Oculus headsets, right? This is pretty much what people are doing now. So I probably shouldn't throw it on the floor though. So
yeah.
So that's kind of what's happening now. And Mark Zuckerberg, in his announcement of Meta, as in the metaverse, showed us many different things that are now happening that people are already doing. So it's not even science fiction. It's not fiction either. It's just science.
Oh, awesome. So that means I also read that there is a in the metaverse. If I when I was reading, I thought it is where the physical and the digital world, or physical and the virtual world, is merging, right? So I was, what do you mean from a non-technical person point of view? You know, it looks very fancy for me to say, hey, both are merging. So how will you explain to a person who is not that, who wants to educate himself into, say, business or science or understand films and all that, but does not know how they are going to merge?
So the metaverse is like a parallel universe, right? Look at it this way. If you like IKEA furniture, right? Yeah. Nobody likes to build IKEA furniture, but we all like IKEA furniture. Yeah. So I am on the internet, and the internet is like me being able to go through the catalog of IKEA furniture. So, oh, I like this. This is good. Oh, wow, I can see the sizes and see the shapes. That's really good. I can even now click on it, and wow, cool. There it is. I click on it and I can buy it, and I can see a two-dimensional representation of IKEA furniture, right? Cool. Yeah. That's the internet right now, is to be able to look through the book. The metaverse is where I can put on the headset and now I'm at the store. I can go to the store, I can walk around the store, I can buy things in the store, I can pick them up, I can even bring them over to my own apartment, put them in my apartment and say, wow, that looks pretty cool there, and then go in real life to the store and buy it, or go on the internet, click a button, buy it, right? So one is the catalog, one is the store.
So that's how it is there. The digital and the physical world are actually merging, because you are able to get into the virtual world, see everything, understand, right, and see how, because people like me may not have that vision to see those pictures, how they will look better in our home. But when you bring that home and put it there, I think it creates much more sense to me. And it seems like, if I can state that, it seems like it's a next chapter for the internet. That's why it is called as Web 3.0 also, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So next time, like Web 1.0 was just when we were writing some one or two say screens, and then when the video was introduced, it was Web 2.0, and now it is Web 3.0, and we are bringing so much of stuff in it. So now my next question to you, Frank,
I guess that would make Web 4.0 would be heaven.
yeah, I know, but
actually, go to heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But I think we will find some other way to enjoy ourselves on this universe before.
Yeah, so I'll stick to 3.0 for now. Thank you.
Before Elon Musk gets us to Mars and have some colony or something. Maybe we can buy some. People are these days. It's not only education, Frank, but I was surprised when I was researching this topic. People have bought billions of dollars of worth of digital land on a metaverse. So it's not a science fiction that, hey, Frank got an idea and he's bringing in this virtual film school on a metaverse. there's so much is happening, and billions of dollars have been invested by people on digital land, that I see that this kind of an education and all that is going to become. But my question to you is, this is going to transform a lot, right? Education industry. Now, do you think it is going to transform it only from a student perspective of education, or it is going to disrupt the way universities work? Or because I think when the Coursera and MOOC and all that started, they were saying there'll be a lot of disruption for universities, but they're still around, they're still doing the same thing. So I would like to take your perspective on both, from student as well as university.
So when a new technology comes along, it doesn't eliminate the other technologies most of the time. It usually just gets added on top of the pile. So when there were only movies and then television came along, everybody in the movie industry said, oh my God, television is going to eliminate movies. But it didn't. We just had movies and TV, right? And then when computer video came along, we added that to the mix, right? So when there was when there was just education, Lynn, stop. When there was just education in universities, and then we added online education to it, it didn't eliminate universities, we just added it on top, right? So metaverse learning is going to get added on top. The other two are not going to go away. But here's the problem, because the education system is really, really in trouble. I'll give you an example, quick story. I was a professor an adjunct professor at Chapman University, okay? In the 1980s, they built a gorgeous building. It's 3 or 4 stories. It's got big, giant studios in it. It has a 500-seat theater. This thing cost $50 million, right? Yep. In the 2000s, they built a 1-story building with a small theater and no studios and just a few classrooms in it. That building cost $50 million.
Okay.
Education costs are rising faster than anything else in our society, including healthcare. Why? Are we suddenly doing so much better on the SATs? Are we suddenly much smarter than we were? Has the quality improved so much? No, it hasn't. So it's a disconnected price raise. We have to fix that. We have to find a way to lower the cost of doing it. So when we invented Virtual Film School, we realized that instead of having to build a $50 million, we could meet in here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the classroom. We don't need janitors in that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't need administrators and so many people, I think. And I have a question here. So when you're showing with this, I have actually seen that use this augmented Oculus once, and it was fascinating. So my question to you here is, when I look at education and this, like my daughter got some tuition or tutor from India, they used to do a whiteboard, and I can understand English and some history lessons being taught on the Zoom, and some use of, say, a notepad on the iPad or something, and where they can collaborate. But in your case, it's a film, okay? And I'm not a very good filmmaker or understanding of it, but if my limited knowledge says a film will require some kind of a sun, some kind of a set, some kind of, say, a wave coming in from, say, some ocean, or some other activities happening around it. So you'd have to be in the 3D world to make a film. How do you make that possible in this world, in this from Metaverse or from your VFS?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question, but first let me preface it with something. One of the great things about being able to do this remotely and doing this in virtual reality is that I am standing next to you in that virtual room. We can look at each other and we can walk around the set, and we can do that. Now, what that means is that you, Sandeep, can be the teacher in Punjab or in San Francisco or in New York or wherever you are, and be standing next to me here in Los Angeles, right? So for all of education to benefit, because let's pretend that I wanted to learn Hindi. Well, guess what? I could have a Hindi teacher who is in Punjab, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He or she can be teaching me in Punjab and really understand the language there and be able to teach me there. If I want to learn Mandarin, my teacher can be in Beijing.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn about film, wouldn't it be best to have a teacher who is in Los Angeles, who is in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
And that's the idea of what we do. You know, our team, we're in Hollywood, we're about 10 people all together. And so we're in Hollywood and we're in London. I'm super grateful to my team in London, Lionel, Ivan, and of course, Dr. John Holder, who couldn't unfortunately be here, but they are experts in their field, right? So we can all be teaching you in Punjab. Isn't that great?
Yeah, and that would not have been possible. So you're saying the top, so you can learn from the top guy now rather than getting in from second-rate universities and schools and all that. You can leverage the knowledge and actually pass on and make an impact in the lot of people and actually hire these people also. You know,
right, exactly. So when we talked about cost and I said, you know, we don't have those $50 million buildings, right? That means that we can do two things. We can pass the savings on to the students, and our tuitions are about 1/10 of what it costs to get a degree. We have a certified bachelor's degree, a Bachelor of Arts in new media, all right, that our students are going to be able to get. And we can do it for about $25,000 for the entire degree. $25,000 buys you about 15 minutes of tuition time in an Ivy League school, right?
I understand. I agree.
Yeah.
And so the way you're saying is, it seems you are very far along in your journey as a virtual film school and a metaverse and all that. So I want to know, do you have various places on which you're working on right now across the world as a VFS, or are you only working in London and Hollywood?
So we have a business model where what we do is, first of all, we're going to start attracting students on a business to consumer level. But right now, our business model is to partner with other schools in other countries. So for example, if I may share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So for example, this is the, okay, can you see my screen?
I see your presentation, Google Sheet.
Student success stories, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, that's not what I want to show you. What I want to show you is this. So here's the Virtual Film School website. Mm-hmm. And here's the Virtual Film School website for Canada. So this is Virtual Film School Canada. We have an amazing team of guys in Canada. And really, you know, love these guys. They are helping us to score Indigenous students in Canada so that we can have people who would never have the opportunity to, learn from professors in Los Angeles because they are in Northern Canada. But we're going to be able to teach those kids, and it's going to be fantastic there. We also have a partner in Italy. So here's the Italian version of our website. You'll notice because it's Italian, it looks even better than the American one. So that's how we're doing it right now, is by partnering. So we're right now in talks with some schools in India to be a partner, but we would love to audition more schools and see if we could be teaching with more schools in India.
Yeah, I love the way you use the word audition.
Yeah.
I think because you're a filmmaker, that's why you use the word audition. We and the other side of the thing, we never use audition. You know, I think we need to start using the word audition when we select channel partners.
Well, everybody knows what it means. So,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So another question I have is, it seems like a lot of investments to me. Okay, the way you are going in for all of the world, you're going in for Italy, England, and all that, and then technology and all that. Are you funding it yourself? Or I hope it's not a personal question, but if you are, it's okay. But if you can answer that, it'll be great to know.
Okay, well, I assure you,
Or
yeah.
sorry, or are you asking these vendors and these people to invest money in you? Or sorry, if it's okay to answer.
Sure. So yes, I am bootstrapping it, and yes, our director, our UK director, Lionel Simons, and I are both bootstrapping this company, and we wouldn't be anywhere without Lionel Simons, mind you. But he's somebody who graduated at the top of his class at the London School of Economics. In fact, you know what? Let me share the team with you because they are absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
So here's our team. So yeah, that's me. That's John Holder, who's our CTO. That's Robin Pryble, our Chief Strategy Officer. John was one of the founders of virtual reality. Robin led the visual effects teams on movies like Avatar. Wow. Ivan was top of his class and a script consultant on movies like Brick Lane, Suffragette, and Transparent, which won a couple of Emmy Awards. Peter's our dean. He's opened 3 schools. And there's Lionel Simons, who top of his class at LSE. He's run businesses both in the US and the UK, taken them public, cashed out. He's very expert in business. Here's Lynn Spire, who is on with me right now, coaching me. Lionel raised his hand. Chris Backhouse, Rob Tersick, who used to run Oprah Winfrey's company, Philip Lunn. It's a really, a diverse and wonderful group of people. What was your question again, by the way?
My question was that you have such things going on. Is there a VC firm funding you, or a PE firm funding you, or this is a personal question? Why? And I'm sorry, I'm digressing it here because, like, I also have an investment firm, a small investment firm, and I thought I'll ask you off the go. Is there a funding coming up so that we move on to the next step just after you answer this question?
Yeah, so as you can see on screen here, we are partnered with Young America Partners, and we've just launched this as of yesterday. So we've already got 1 investor, and this is a Reg CF crowdfunding. So you can see how it.
So I will go to Young Partner and then look at that. And if I have any questions, I will ask you for that.
Yes. Am I allowed to give the website?
I think I will figure out that and then come back to you. Let's talk about Metaverse. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Do you have any place where I can actually see how the education is going to happen? How, like I asked you, you explained me that how you can move the laptop and how you can place these things and how you can move the lighting and tell people how to do how to actually shoot films. I'm not a filmmaker, so I'm losing words here, but I hope you get what I'm asking for, is that you have. How do you teach all that? Okay, so using technology.
All right, so I'm gonna do a simple version of it here. Okay, so this is my office, right? So if I wanted to teach you that the camera, so pretend that this is the camera, right? And I said, okay, this is a good shot, but maybe Frank isn't so good looking, so don't put the camera so close to him. Maybe move it a little bit further away, or better yet, instead, let's have the camera over here. No, you know what? The camera should be over here. All right, that's a better view. Great. Let's have the camera over here. And now let's do a shot from the top. Let's do a shot from the bottom. Let's look at the light. Great. So you can do all those things in virtual reality, except that I can walk over here and stand with you here. I can put the camera behind me, in front of me, and even better, check this out. If I said, okay, you know what would be great is if there was a bird flying around the room. So I can snap my fingers, put a bird into the room, and maybe there needs to be an elephant over here. And maybe this room sucks. Maybe I want to do this inside of the Roman Colosseum. Snap,
Yeah.
and we're there at the Roman Colosseum. Maybe I need 100 Roman soldiers behind me now. Okay, so snap, 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 and there's 100 Roman soldiers. So you can do all that, and you can create all that in that virtual world. And I can be standing here, and you can be standing here, and we can talk it out, and we can rehearse the scene, and every imaginable resource is there in virtual reality. So you move quicker, you're much more efficient, and interestingly enough, the memory of this, because it's not just me telling you this, it's you actually doing it. So the memories are stored on the hippocampus part of the brain, so that when you go to do it again in real life, you have the experience. It's like, you can tell me how to drive to my neighbor's house, but if I do it, then I remember it much better.
Yeah, no, that's very powerful. That's very
Frank,
powerful.
can you hear me, Frank?
Oh, and that's the voice of God, or Lionel Simons.
Not quite. I think it would be useful for you to send Sandeep 2 or 3 of the videos that answer explicitly through actual examples the questions he has asked.
You know,
how you put it together, how you do it, and things like the one you did for Beijing Film Academy. I think
Sure.
2 or 3 of those videos will give Sandeep much more of a hands-on feeling as to how it works.
I agree completely, Lionel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So
and
if I
once
may share my screen.
And once I get it, and if you allow that, I will maybe share it on LinkedIn and other places also, if everything goes well.
Sure. Well, let me do this. I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'm going to show you.
Oh, why don't you show it now rather than
Sure.
if you have, because that's the purpose of, we want to see how this technology is going to make so much of a change, right?
Yes.
Because there's no point discussing other things, because I want to really see how this works.
Okay, here we go. Skip the ad.
I don't hear.
So can virtual reality.
Okay, take 3.
I hear it now.
Movies can take us anywhere.
So can virtual reality.
So if you want to be a filmmaker, why would you study in a classroom like this?
When you could study in a classroom like this.
Using the same technologies we used on Avatar, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and Lord of the Rings. We've created a new film school for a new media.
And it works. Our students have become stars on YouTube, TikTok, and more.
Traditional film schools are vastly more expensive and use outdated teaching techniques. And they're definitely not set up for online learning. We use live instructors who mentor you in our proprietary virtual classrooms.
The world's greatest teachers, cutting-edge technology in your home. This is where your future starts.
It worked for me.
Are you next? virtualfilmschool.org. Higher education for the next generation.
This is
on that
What
same
if there was a way to
playlist,
learn the greed of
on that same playlist, and I can send you the whole list,
okay.
Would be this video.
Yeah, you were talking
welcome.
about the bringing the
Selfie
elephant and all that. Is that okay?
So this is an example of us inside of a virtual green screen room, and there's Robin and there's John and things like that. Here we are with now, hey, somebody said, let's put a bear in there. That's a good idea. But instead of a bear, a tiger would be much scarier. So let's put a tiger in there. That's cool. Now let's get a camera in there. Okay, now let's get a close-up of the tiger. Let's get a long shot of the tiger. And you can see how now I'm able to work with the camera person and put the shots up on screen so that everybody can see it, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the best part, if I can say, is it can reduce the cost of teaching and all that also a lot, right?
It reduces the cost by about a factor.
You don't have to. I don't expect universities to bring elephants and tigers in their classrooms, but But this, either the imagination, you can implement what you imagine also, and actually see them and feel them, or see them and perceive them, and then I think it can be wonderful. Amazing.
Well, you're seeing some student quotes. For example, Nikki Baber, she has 2 billion views on TikTok, 200 million likes on TikTok. And you can see many of our success stories that our group has taught, including, Bernie Sue has 2 Emmy Awards. Where is Bernie Sue there? Awesome. Bernie Sue has 2 Primetime Emmy Awards. Or Freddie W, has 2 billion views on YouTube. So we even have a professional witch, Patty Negri, was somebody who had been on a few reality shows with her work, and then she started doing web video, and now she's a superstar on the web, and she's super famous for doing that. So the bottom line is that, right now they say that 85% of teachers agree that they should be using virtual reality. 2% of them do it.
Yeah, and why is that so? Because of the attitude of the universities, or the funding, or something else, or it requires a entrepreneur like you to come out and do something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I would teach at, let's say, a USC or Chapman University, and I would say, okay, I'm going to bring in this new media stuff. I got my start as a filmmaker for cable, and like HBO and things, but then I started making them for the internet and then for mobile, and I was very successful at this. I'd won literally 2 cars as awards, so they said, yeah, this is really great, this is kind of the future. And I would say, it's kind of the present now, but okay, sure. And they would look at me as sort of a novelty, and I kind of went against their business model, because if you think about it, at one of the schools I taught at, which shall go nameless, but I mentioned them before, they have taught altogether something like 40,000 students, right? 40,000 of those students have come and gone through that university. Of that 40,000, 2 have become feature film directors, but feature film directing is the most popular major there. So what they're doing is they're kind of fooling 17-year-olds into thinking that they're going to be feature film directors, and their odds in reality are 1 in 10,000. Imagine if you went to accounting school and your odds are 1 in 10,000 of becoming an accountant.
Yeah. So
right?
So that means all these people who are students, and including my daughter, and I see that happening. But in your, if you do a normal accounting schooling and all that, and you get absorbed in some kind of an activity in some company, whether not an accountant, at least become something, but in your area, I think it is more specific, because that's a creative area where somebody wants to be a filmmaker, and they go through the school, they read the books, they understand all these points, and they get the A's and the B's and the grades and all that, and then nothing happens after that, because they did not get the real education. Is that what you're saying?
Well, first of all, 3-dimensional education, being able to go to IKEA as opposed to just, reading the catalog of IKEA is a much better thing, right? So the more you do, the better you're going to be at it. And with our curriculum of 22 courses, you do, and you learn by doing, right? In the producing class, you learn how to produce something. In the editing class, you're editing your own video. In the marketing class, in the branding class, you're creating marketing or branding for your brand. So that's helpful. The other thing is this, in all of the film schools that I taught at, the objective was to come out with a thesis project, and the thesis project is something like a 20 to 25-minute film that people just don't watch. It's like a wedding video. The family gets together and watches it once, and then no one else ever again. And you've spent $50,000 or $100,000 on that 20-minute film. It's absurd, but that's the model at universities. Yeah. With us, you're creating a web series, and we don't let you proceed unless you can prove that there is a monetary component to this, that you can make money at this, because we're about art and we're about business. We're about teaching people not just the fun, oh boy, isn't this cool art part of it, but also about the how to make money at it, how to make a living at it. Because so many of my students from past years who graduated are still waiters and still, you know, working in car washes or working in,
Yeah,
you know,
I understand the pain. I understand the pain. And I think Lionel want to say something. Can do you,
Lionel,
I
do you
saw
have
a
an
raised
additional
hand.
comment? I think he just didn't
Okay.
take his hand
Okay.
down. And by the way, on the call with us is Ashlyn Glazier Anderson, who's the CEO of Ashbean PDX Public Relations. And she is phenomenal. Her company is phenomenal. She has posted here the website for the financing, if anybody wants to check that out.
And I will thank you very much, and I will try my best to send it as a mailer also to people, and also share it in the LinkedIn when I send the recording. But that's the best I can do. I can share it on there and say, hey, this company is raising funds. So
great.
I don't want
round.
I cannot be seen as somebody who is raising funds, because there are other things also.
Can you hear me,
yes.
Frank? Can you hear me?
Yes, Lionel, go ahead.
So you asked the question of the difference between a university degree and what we're offering. We start at the point of teaching students how to monetize the skill.
Yes.
Universities do not do that. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. And you may say that a kid can go out with his camera and he can make a film, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but he won't get monetized unless it's of interest, it's of quality, and it appeals to people. So the people that make money on YouTube and TikTok and such like are the ones that have an interesting story, put it together in a good manner, and it becomes attractive and they monetize. So we're teaching kids how to do that from step one, how to get out there, make a movie of high quality, of interest, and they will become monetized. Now, a regular film school doesn't do that at all. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. So,
absolutely,
that's the thing you have to bear in mind, Sanjeev, because the kids that we're appealing to, or even the adults we're appealing to, love the idea, want to know how they can get on YouTube and TikTok and make money, because there are many more people that try to get on there that do not make money because they have not made a quality product. And that's what we teach them how to do, make a quality product, so that from month 1 or month 2, they can be actually earning money by putting something of interest on YouTube or TikTok.
Lionel, yes, exactly. So just to give you 2 points on that, Sandeep, first of all, because our tuition fees are lower and our costs are so much lower, we can afford to pay teachers so much more. So to give you an example, when I worked at that university that begins with a C, that school theoretically paid me $40 an hour, right? But it was a flat fee. And in reality, I had to do twice as much work, sometimes 3 times as much work as I was being paid for. So I was really only being paid $15 or $20 an hour. And I had to drive myself there, pay all my own costs, no health insurance, nothing to that effect, right? Well, with Virtual Film School, we pay our professors $100 an hour. So we can afford to have real working professionals do this. Okay. At that other school, the head of the writing department, the head of the television writing department, he had written many successful television shows in the 1980s. His last credit was The Bill Cosby Show.
Wow.
Okay. And he was teaching, about how to do television writing. With us, Ivan Levine is consulting on television shows as we speak. I'm producing projects on the side as we speak. John Holder is working as we speak in virtual reality, at the cutting edge of virtual reality. Robin Preble right now is working on Avatar 2 and Avatar 3. as we speak. So we're able to, multitask, and we're able to have the most current people who are doing this. And we teach them to monetize, as Lionel said. Okay, we know how to monetize this stuff. We've all made good livings at it, and we're teaching you, the student, how to monetize.
Awesome. I think that should be what I'm getting from this is from not only from Virtual Film School, the entire education system has to start working on that. And I remember one thing more, when Elon Musk, just to take it into another thing, I think Elon Musk said that he doesn't care about the university degrees when he hires a computer scientist or something for his company. Or maybe this is also a trend going on in Silicon Valley, where they are not even looking at your degrees, just looking at how good of a software developer you are, even if you are a high school student. Or if you are just a high school, who cares about your fancy Ivy degree if you are not able to code well, right?
Exactly.
That's
100% true, and even more so in the world of film and television and new media, because you may have had the highest level degree from Harvard, but if I'm looking to fund a project, all I want to know is how many people have seen it, how many people have liked it, how much have you monetized out of this, all right? What is the quality of it? Can you do it over and over again? And if you've got a web series, you can demonstrate, yes, look, I've done it over and over again. I've monetized it. I've been able to gather an audience with it. Television executives, they want to know, do you have an audience? Can you bring an audience to the table? And that's what we're about. That's what we're helping people to do, as opposed to just making a 25-minute, $100,000 student film that only your family watches.
I agree. And we get proud of it afterwards and say, my daughter and son has made it. And then we spend 200,000. And then after that, we are just making resumes and sending it to the people. It's very sad. And I think I can tell you from my experience, even I'll give you two things right now. One is when I did my MBA in 1992 in India, I think I learned in last 30 years or last in the school of hard knocks, then in the books I read in those 2 years. And I think what you're saying is you are bringing that 30 years of my breaking head into different companies and all that. You're trying to do that in those 2 years, and with the right mentors, with the right people. And I think it's not only VFS, and I think this can happen to other schools. Maybe somebody can come up with a business school, somebody can come up with some other kind of a school which can be do that. So I think it's a fantastic one. Fantastic. I love this, by the way. Now another question I have is, you use the word experiential learning. I think, or you or Lionel used it. And this word leads me to my a few years back when my daughter was in grade 5 or something. She went to a school called Calgary in Canada, Calgary Science School. And this school was an experiential learning school kind of a thing. And the one question which stumped me, and she came back with a home assignment, said, how does history impacted the geography, and how did geography impacted the history, and give one or two examples? And it took me, after so much of education and all that, I couldn't figure out, because I didn't know anything, because we were just mugging up books and then we were childs. So we were children. So I think, do you know how this thing can be answered, or should I?
So
okay, if you were the professor, how will you answer that? I had to go back to the school and say, I cannot support my daughter in this. Please help me understand your question. Something wrong. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So and I'm just spitballing this, but just imagine your daughter is able to put on a headset, right? Inside the headset, she can go into a Roman Colosseum, and then she can go into the Greek Parthenon. Right? She can see it from their point of view and stand there and see the columns. And then she can fly up and she can see the city of Athens and the city of Rome. And then she can fly up a little bit more and she can see the Aegean Sea and the coast of Rome. And she can see the hills of Rome. And she can see how, for example, the Huns were able to come down from Central Europe and invade, because that was the most vulnerable part of Italy. They were protected by the sea, but they were not so protected from the Huns coming in, right? So that was the devastation of the Roman Empire. But you can actually go there and you can see it, and you can see it from their point of view. And then imagine that you can take that, put that on video, and hand that over to your professor. Say, okay, here's my paper.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think I have no other questions for you, but and we are at 45 minutes. Vrinda, do you see any questions for us?
Yeah, I've
yes,
just
Frank,
put one in the chat.
do you understand, Frank, what Sandeep's business is about?
Lionel, I barely understand what our business is about.
Now you know why he got awards for comedy shows.
Yeah, and why we need you, Lionel. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But the admin, Verinda, did you have some questions?
Yeah. We had one question from Jennifer. She has joined us live from LinkedIn. So she is asking, what exists in the metaverse can be touched or used or experienced in the physical world, or does it stay in the metaverse?
So in the metaverse, when I have my avatar and you have your avatar, we can high five each other's controllers. So we can high five each other's controllers, or we can touch each other's controllers, and we can have a sense of touch that way. There isn't a sense of smell, which is lucky for me. And there isn't, you can't really hug somebody until we put on haptic suits and haptic gloves. And then, yes, you will have a sense of touch and all that sort of thing. But what you lose in personal contact, you gain from the ability of being able to be with anyone inside the same room. Okay, right now we're all on Zoom. We're just two-dimensional figures, and over there is the wall, and over there is the door, and it's a different experience. I can't walk around you. I can't, I wish I could, but only in the metaverse. So that which is in the metaverse, no, I can't take the lion out of my scene and put him in my house here, but I can be with you in Punjab. I can be with you in Beijing. I can be with you in the Bay Area in the same room together, whether it's the Colosseum or Mars.
Okay.
Sanjeev, may I ask you this question? What
Yes,
is your potential interest in our product?
My potential
The
interest.
potential interest, yes.
When I met Frank a few weeks back, I got first of all, it is very interesting. Metaverse. I was reading about metaverse for the last 2-3 months, and I was looking at how people are buying land and all that, billions of dollars worth of land, and then I couldn't figure out what the actual use case will be, and because I was always looking at people who are gamblers, if I can say, who are investing land in the land in the digital land. I actually saw the use of metaverse when Frank explained me very well in one of the meetings we had, and then I wanted him to share that with everyone else so that we can start talking about something which is going to change. When people talk about metaverse, they talk about crypto, they talk about NFT, they talk about Bitcoin, they talk about all that, and they merge all these things together. I am trying to educate people and say, those things, what currencies and all that are coming in, are different things. They are not all, they use metaverse for for the transactions, but they are not metaverse. Metaverse has much bigger impact and much bigger things, and that's what I'm doing. I have no personal interest or no financial interest in VFS at this point of time. But we are a non-profit association, and we are trying to educate people and our own community and our own business owners and all that with what's happening with the metaverse and how it is going to impact their own businesses. Have I answered my question? Your question?
Almost. In what way do you expect to be able to educate your community, the people you're in touch with or would like to get in touch with?
Lionel, let me jump in here because I think Akash Sharma has an excellent way of putting it. Akash said, if we see in global perspective, is it a feasible solution for learning considering mass scale? And I'm going to say yes to that. And here's why, because let me just share the screen and I will show you how we do it. And it's this. So it's one-to-many teaching. You can be in a virtual room, you're a student, pretend, and you're with your cohort, and you're in a virtual room, and in the virtual room with you is your tutor, okay? And you're having one-to-one conversations so you can iterate and make better your project. If I said to you, go film a sunset, and you film it like this, and it looks better like this, then the tutor can tell you, next time, turn your camera this way. Okay, great. So that's one-on-one interaction. Then at the same time, you can be hearing from the professor. The professor is the highly paid, name brand, very successful instructor who has real world experience. So you're hearing from the professor in your virtual room, you're working directly with your tutor, and the tutor is then able to say, hey, you know what? Sandeep did a really good sunset. Why don't you show Sandeep's sunset to everybody? So the professor then can communicate that to all the other rooms. So it does in fact scale because you can have the best of both worlds. You can have a small cohort of students that you become friends with, that you get to work with as you go through your journey in the school. But at the same time, we can be teaching 10 of those cohorts or 100 of those cohorts at the same time. All we need is 10 or 100 tutors who are paid a little bit less, but still handsomely. So that's how it scales up. That's how we're able to do, eventually it'll be 1,000 people per class, because in India, the numbers are big, big, big. They make many more movies than the Americans make, right? They make more movies than the Americans and the rest of the world put together, I believe. Yeah. So they're already at scale in what they're doing. Now we can bring the scale of teaching to India. We can bring the scale of teaching, with the best of London and the best of Hollywood teachers right now to that and add to the education that's already there.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Anything else? I did not answer, I think, Lionel's question. Can I try once again, Lionel, what your question is?
My question is, what is it that you guys do for a living, and why are you talking with us?
Okay. The Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, I think in the first slide I said, is a charitable association. I will tell you what I do personally, and then I'll talk to about as a charitable association where Punjabi as a community across the world has put together, and we are trying to help the Punjabi business owners, professionals, and all that, and other community members to learn and understand, and then maybe provide a platform like a Chamber of Commerce so that they can transact with each other, make formidable businesses or alliances across the world. That is our goal, and also give back to society. Now, what I do personally for a living, I have for the last 25 years, I have been in corporate world as a management consultant and as a business expert, and from technology, from business process and systems. Then in the last 4 years of my entrepreneurial journey, Lionel, I have been a marketing and advising company. I have a small marketing and advising company, and I also own not a PE as an investment firm, but we are a group of 6-7 investors who are looking at investing in some mature or even startup companies in the future, where we can actually go and transform them, get inside. So it's not that we give money and run away. We want to give money and put our skin in the game also to make that work, make that work as a growth architect. That's my personal story. And we have. I'll answer one more thing. I have my co-chair here, who is a supply chain leader. She is an employee as a number one employee in her company for a supply chain leader. I have like the founder of this association is a lawyer and is an M&A lawyer, another an immigration lawyer from the US, from New Jersey. There are many, many different kind of, they are educators, they are business owners, they are manufacturing companies. They're all people are coming together. It's here.
Yes, that's very good. Are you physically located in San Francisco?
Yes, I'm physically located in the Bay Area, and we have 17 chapters across the world.
Wow.
Very good. Very good. I've had a number of Punjabi friends in my time.
I understand. Yes. And
okay,
and by
yes,
the way, Lionel,
yes.
when just 1 second more. I'm sorry. I should not have interjected.
That's okay.
When Frank, I get excited when Frank showed me your partner in or your probable partner in UK. I don't know whether you are still the partner, you have the partnership or not. The picture which that website had, most of them were Indians, 95%, and I think 80%.
Yes, that's Brit-Asia.
Yeah, 80%
of
them. Yeah, 80% of them were Punjabis, by the way, if you see that.
Yes, and I've had a long association with Punjabis.
Okay, great.
I can tell you a story one day, but now would not be quite appropriate.
Next time you come here, let's get together.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Frank, I think
there is a question. There is a question for you. There's a question for you. Setup cost for learning through Metaverse, considering all hardware costs. Plus, is it affordable in global aspect for countries with low GDPs? Like here, dollar is okay, but when it goes to India, it becomes very expensive. And so how would you answer that?
All right, so two things. One is the price of headsets have come down. This used to be $3,000, now it's $300.
Wow, okay.
All right. So the technology is scaling downward pretty quickly. And so the prices are scaling down pretty quickly. I think it's going to flatten at about $300. So that is a component. A college textbook is about $150. So
yeah,
this you'll have for years and use it for everything. A college textbook is for one course.
Yeah.
Our textbook, which is being released on Monday, is $120. So I know what I'm talking about. My co-writer, Lynn, who's on the call, she actually wrote the lion's share of it. It's called New Media, and it is all about new media, right? So so that's pretty low. As we go into bigger countries and bigger markets, we can scale up the number of students so we can scale down the price. Right now, our cost is $1,200 per course. You take 21 courses in order to graduate. So yeah, that's just under $25,000. But understood, the currency in India is very different, and therefore we will get more numbers to make up for the lower tuition.
Okay, and I think what we're saying is that if even no, it cannot be everyone in India or countries with lower GDPs or I think India is much ahead, but there are people who are who countries in there, but they have a lot of challenges. Now, we are not, I think you are not saying that everyone can afford it. Like, I'll give you an example. But if you look at the numbers of students, India sends to Canada, US, Australia, and UK every year. Just Google that one day, you will find out. I think it's even the population of one country maybe moving out every year. So
wow.
Hundreds and thousands of people are going, and all the students are spending $50,000 a year or something. Maybe their parents.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly.
Right. So let me give you an example, because we're in talks with China right now about this. So in the school that we're talking about, it's the Shanghai Media Academy, right? So at the Shanghai Media Academy, they want to send students to, let's say, that university that I mentioned that begins with a C, right? Well, that school, the tuition is $80,000 per year. Add on to that the cost of housing, the cost of transportation, and you're getting close in 4 years to dropping $500,000. Even if they only come for 2 years, that's still $250,000 to finish their degree, right? and you're away from your family, you're away from your friends, you're away from your home, you're away from your resources, you might be the subject of discrimination. You might be the subject of racism. You might get, cast aside for any number of reasons. And so what winds up happening is you wind up, if you're Chinese, you just wind up hanging out with Chinese kids all day and speaking Chinese. So the experience isn't as valuable as it may seem. If you're able to attend with the same teachers in this thing, only better teachers who are more current, with more experience, number one. Number two is you're with your family, your friends, your resources. If I want to make a film about my experience in Shanghai, I can't do it in Los Angeles. I can do it in Shanghai because I can have my brother be an actor and I can have my sister make be the producer, and I can have my mother make the craft services, make the food, which is true. That's what my mom would do on my sets. Yeah. So
I have another, yeah.
You get to have your resources there. You don't have all the cost of moving, you don't have the loneliness, you don't have the unhappiness and all that sort of a thing, and you're able to do it for about 1/10 of the cost. So
I agree. And not everyone can afford it, Akash, if that was a question, but there are enough people in every country who want to learn from there. And I think at one point of time when some VC fund, maybe Bill Gates come and likes you after this and they say, hey, I'm going to give you $1 billion. And then you can, create a scholarship program for that, right?
I'm sure he's watching,
Okay.
He follows me everywhere. It's amazing.
Yes, definitely. I have another question from Indrajit. He says, is this limited to Facebook, Meta, or independent or platform, or independent of the platform?
No, we have our own proprietary platform that you'll be learning in.
No, so it's an independent, so you're not, okay. So anything else? So that before we close here?
Yeah, I want to say one last thing. Right now, if you were to look on Facebook, the number of videos that are misinformation about COVID are greater than the number of videos that are valid information about COVID. Okay, misinformation is what's subterfuging the recovery from the pandemic. That is probably the worst thing that's happening in our society right now. And most of it is caused by people going on video and making, convincing enough arguments to fool people into thinking that Bill Gates is putting chips in their blood, right? Which is ridiculous because he's putting them in our phones. Anyway, we are here. One of the reasons that we're doing this is to be able to somehow change the nature, change the conversation for the better. Because at the same time as all that terrible stuff is happening, look at how, for example, Greta Thunberg was able to make little videos in her school about not using plastic straws that catapulted her to the world stage, where now she's yelling at the folks at the United Nations about climate change, right? And just started by making videos about straws in her school. Look at, you may not know about this, but there's a guy called Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast is a billion view guy on YouTube. And he, along with a bunch of other YouTubers, is leading something called Team C's. And they are able to use crowdfunding and crowdsourcing and money, because they make a lot of money at this, to clean the plastic out of the ocean. So far, they have cleaned 30 million pounds of plastic out of the ocean so far. And they're going up with that. And you can even go onto Team C's and you can, for every $1 that you donate, they'll clean a pound of plastic out of the ocean. Because when they go to some place and they say, hey, YouTubers, come and join me at this place and let's take some plastic out of the ocean, then thousands of people show up. That's the power of social video. It's more powerful as a messaging medium than any other medium in the history of the world. And we're here to help make that conversation a little bit better and a little bit more positive.
Awesome. I think what I got from another thing which I got from here is that all the effort, all the cutting edge, and all the the top class teachers and educators who are current with their technology. And we should not forget that the importance of being current. If like my daughter goes to a data analytics school, or I went to a, say, technology schools, and most of the people who go to computer education, they are taught by professors or teachers in the universities who are maybe 5 years behind or 10 years behind in this. And I remember when I was studying MBA, there was an important subject which was public sector, how to manage public sector businesses in India. And that at that time also public sectors were dying and government was selling it, but that topic was still taught, and then we were always have to even pass that and get a grade A on that, right? So all these professors are, but in your case, you're saying is, since you are bringing all the current people who have worked in Avatar, people who have worked in all Lord of Rings and all those kind of things you're bringing in, that's priceless. In my opinion, that's worth hundreds and thousands of dollars. You know.
Absolutely. And you can connect real world items with virtual world items like, you know, NFTs or tokens or digital twins or things like that. So, you know, there is some overlap in these concentric circles.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Frank. I think there's no further question. And thank you so much to Lionel for bringing in your expertise and sharing your thoughts with us. And it's very good for me to learn that you know Punjabis a lot. And I think, and now Frank will also know a lot, and he will also look out for lots of Punjabis. And when you'll be able to figure out one day who is a Punjabi or not, but right. So and then we all from India, you know, we all are proud of our own states and language and all that. And by the way, one thing,
Ashlyn, thank you, Akash, thank you, Indrajit, and most especially thank you to you, Sandeep.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much, and we can close down, Brinda.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank